Cantor is the man responsible for bringing any additional sanctions to a vote in the House. He calls this deal a mistake. Congressman Cantor is in Richmond, Virginia for a conversation that you will see only on CBS this morning. Congressman, good morning.
Charlie, good morning.
You just heard the Secretary of State say that this is good because it expands the time that Iran will have the capacity to make a nuclear weapon. There's more inspection, and there's some restrictions on enrichment, and that's enriched to 20% will have to be changed. Why isn't that a good deal to freeze things and delay?
Charlie, I think this interim deal with Iran is in fact dangerous. It is a deal which brings Iran closer to becoming a nuclear power. This deal that's been negotiated by the Secretary of State, frankly, falls well short of the UN Security Council resolution, which called for no sanctions relief until Iran suspended its enrichment of uranium. And we see in this deal language, despite protests to the contrary, language which says that Iran will have some type of right to enrich, as of yet in the language of the deal, still to be defined. Now, this is all contrary to the notion of what so many of us have been fighting for, which is to insist that we shouldn't pursue a policy of containment with Iran, that we should in fact insist that a country which has deceived the world, a country which has defied UN Security Council resolutions, can't be trusted. And we want that power in that country to dismantle, irreversibly dismantle its nuclear stockpiles and not be allowed to continue enrichment. And I think this deal falls short on all of those fronts, and I think it bodes very, very ominously for the region and, in fact, U.S. security.
Congressman, for the first time in a decade, we have halted Iran's nuclear program. There is a freeze. Also, for the first time, there will be daily inspections, unprecedented inspections of the enrichment facilities at Natanz and Fordo. Can you say that that is positive, that development?
Well, first of all, since when do we trust Iran? Iran has demonstrated again and again it cannot be trusted. I believe that the attitude should be mistrust and verify. And what this agreement does is it just allows Iran to continue with all that it has in terms of centrifuges. It doesn't require any dismantling. It allows for the enrichment up to 5%, which used to be something that we wouldn't stand for. Iran could once again turn around tomorrow and throw away this. And the problem is, what we've done is we've given up on...
Sir, Iran, but as part of the deal, Iran cannot install or start up new centrifuges, as you know. So it's not the final deal, as you're talking about, and I know there's a great deal of mistrust out there. But I wonder why there's not some acknowledgement that an interim step could lead to a bigger deal. Why isn't that somewhat positive, that you can push for what you want in the final deal?
Well, there's two things that are wrong here, nor two things. One is we have now let the door open to sanctions going away. We have said that we will ease up on sanctions, and which have taken years and years of progress for them to build and to be able to apply the kind of pressure that it did. And what we see also is there's no requirement that we comply with the UN Security Council resolution, which the international community had united behind, which says we need to keep the pressure on Iran until it suspends its nuclear activity and it suspends its enrichment activity. And we know in this agreement there's no requirement for Iran to dismantle its plutonium reactor. There's no requirement for it to dismantle its enrichment facilities. So we've got a real cost to us as we are now opening the door to the weakening of international sanctions that have been in place.
So your alternative is keep the sanctions on, and if they do not lead to a stop, and if Iran is close to a nuclear capacity, then launch a military attack.
Now, Charlie, I don't buy into this, what I believe is a false choice between war or a policy of appeasement. I just don't. I think that we could, with our influence diplomatically, economically, could continue to build the pressure so we can protect our interests and our allies' interests. All we have to do is listen to our allies who are most proximate to the threat in the region, Israel, the Gulf Arab allies that we have, who have been saying all along that any kind of deal with this regime in Iran is not worth the paper it's written on, that it's very, very dangerous for us to allow Iran to now have the ability to claim it has a right to enrich, which is contrary to all the UN Security Council activities of late, and which we know,
thank you, sir.
I think in Congress have spoken out and said it's unacceptable.
Majority Leader Eric Cantor, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.